which is whatever that go. She goes, yeah, and one of the things that's what I was saying, we're dating, we had to sit down with our family tree, because we weren't dating somebody that's close to the tree.
You started dating a guy from Rondo only to find out that his father was my first cousin. His mother was a mummy.
Yeah, I remember high school, where they, I don't know, the mummies when they had the chickens at home.
Right.
And much high school guys pull chickens and see them out.
Wanted to. Our son wanted to.
Another wonderful day, I've heard that somewhere. Good stuff. Yeah, go with people, friend, yes, it's really, it's just you guys
No, I didn't.
Only thing I'm worried about.
Can everyone put their phones on silent, please?
So, yeah.
All right, it's now 9 a.m. We're going to begin the meeting. Welcome to the June meeting of the Fort Clark Springs Association. We'll start out by establishing a quorum. All board members are present, and we'll move into our moment of silence. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, last meeting we did not approve the April minutes. There were some corrections that needed to be made, so do I have a motion to approve the April minutes? Now that everyone's out of three.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Yeah. We'll now move to the May minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Secretary's report?
We had one piece of correspondence that came through Kinney County Sheriff's Office, and it was, it's long, so I'm not going to read it. It was talking about alert sends and the various ways that you can sign up. That was sent out through both dispatch and through email, correct? So that has come to people. Then there was another correspondence. Because of the nature of the issue, I'm not going to give names, but basically it was a member who was upset with dogs pooping, and the neighbor that was allowing the dogs to poop and then not picking it up. So please remember that you're supposed to pick up after your dog. Okay, it can be a smelly mess. And then from the community council, the board has earmarked $2,000 to help with the cost of renovating areas in the adult center. Allison gave an ad hoc report for the first order of business would be to repair the ladies' bathroom on the second floor. Philip would help with the work, but nothing would be done in the interior plumbing in the walls. It was thought that a new toilet would help, and repairing the floor. Money would be used to paint the needed areas, fix the doors and window seals, and give it a good cleaning. The committee had not met with Mr. Peterson. A letter was sent to the Fort Clark Springs board, but no response yet. It was hoped that they would have an answer when the board meets today. It was suggested that all clubs on the fort donate a gallon of paint for the cause. and also that there would be volunteers that would be willing to help out. A major concern was discussed about the status of the pool. It was explained that we cannot purchase water from mud as it would be cost prohibitive, and it was against Texas law to fill up a pool without any circulation. It was also mentioned that Texas Parks and Wildlife will be here to get the turtles and fish out and put them somewhere until we can put them back. And there was a disclaimer that, sorry if I got any of that information wrong, I was doing it over the phone. Okay? So that's all of the Secretary's correspondence.
Okay, thank you. Treasurer's report?
All right, our revenue for May for the motel is $33,369.24. It's probably, people have probably noticed DPS has not been filling up the motel. I think it's because they're now on a voluntary basis, so they don't have to be here. So I think we're all hoping they'll come back and fill us up again. Our total income for May was $185,820.67, and our total expenses were $203,216.97. Subtracting out depreciation, we're at a loss of $6,396.30, but for the year to date, we are up as compared to last year by about $40,000 or $50,000 above in revenue from last year. Preservation has $26,809.97 in their account. That's all I have for you.
Any questions? I will move to the GM report.
Well, addressing probably the one question everybody has is the spring in the pool. Obviously, there's not really much we can do about the spring, but while it is empty, we have taken the initiative to go ahead and cleaning out both the spring, as you'll see in the where the old pumps were in the spring. We've been removing the debris from that area. We are trying to. We had the Texas turtles coming out last weekend, and they looked at our situation with our turtles and realized they're in about as good a shape as they can be in anywhere. So although as if you go down there today, we have 3 springs down there. The spring on the south side is completely dry. The spring on the north side still has water coming into it, although very little. And then there's another spring on the northeast side that is completely dry. If you look at Las Morris Creek, there is one section that still has relatively fresh water in it, so there must be a spring there. That's where we have been picking up our turtles and taking them down to that area. So in all of our cleaning, we have not found any dead turtles yet. So I think this morning we had 4 that were crawling to get out that we got out also. So we kept the turtles. We don't have to electrofish the fish since they've all died now also. So that's taken care of itself. It's been quite a chore bringing the stuff up because the mud there is at least a good 3 feet deep in the center. But Philip and his guys have been doing a real good job getting that done. The pool, Russell, Chris, and have been assessing our situation there. We'll see what happens when it fills up. We now have both gates repaired and ready to go, so everything's ready there. All we need is rain. The one thing we've tried this year that we said we were going to be doing is starting our trapping, and it doesn't show on this last month's P&L, but we did trap right around 10 deer this last 2 days ago, so it brought in about $3,700. We also had 1 trophy buck that we had hunted on the 400, which we've been hunting year round, does another $2,500. So that's $6,200 we usually don't get this time of the year taking care of our deer. Golf course, Stephen and his crew have been transferring the operations to Creekside, which is the place with the air conditioner. The water level is extremely low as far as our irrigation. We may have one more week, maybe 2 more weeks that we can water probably just greens and tee boxes. If you've noticed on the landscaping, and there might have been some misunderstanding on my letter saying stop on Wednesday putting your stuff out of debris and everything. I didn't mean to chastise any members for putting stuff out. What I was trying to make a point of is all of your landscape, your trees, everything are very, very susceptible to anything with this kind of harsh environment. So it really, unless you want to kill your trees, it's not really good to be pruning your trees this time of the year. But at the same time, because of the wind and everything, we have an amazing amount of brush. And what I was trying to get a point is try to get all the existing brush out to the road by Wednesday, and we will try to clean that up. We're strapped to the limit right now. I did not mean, it was taken many different ways. But we have to cut back our expenses as far as everything we're doing this time of the year because of the economy, because of the cost, and additional cutting of trees besides what's already been done does not really help our situation out. You will see that we're not mowing like we normally will because of the drought, and the fact that our mowing probably has created our mesquite problem that we have everywhere else, because once you cut a mesquite it comes back 5 times. So we have been trying 6 different formulas for killing the mesquite, and you will see different areas of the fort and which ones where the little small mesquite has been killed. That's going to be our mission for the next 2 months, is killing this mesquite out and trying to get rid of it during this drought. I think we've finally found the one that's the most cost benefit and that covers the most, and we'll go ahead and work on that for probably the next 2 months. At the same time, while we have our staff is going down Las Morris Creek, cutting the trees that are in the creek, pulling out the debris. In case we do have a big rain or everything, we're trying to take the creek out, or clean the creek up while we have the ability to do it when it's dry. Now, if anybody wants to volunteer, or if you're walking up and down the creek, do not hesitate to pick up a branch and put it on the side. We really won't be upset by anybody that helps us out. Recreation's doing a great job in getting ready and started. I'll let them tell their story. And I want to just thank some of the volunteers, Sean and Linda O'Brien, Clyde Westbrook, Chris and Jim Race, Russell Noe, Travis. Appreciate all the help we're doing there. There's a lot of things going on even though we don't have a pool open. So a lot of things are getting done. DPS is back here to a certain extent. Even though we didn't have them last month, we basically were twice the revenue we had the year before. So, but we are losing a lot of reservations for not having the pool. That's to be expected. That's it.
Alan,
Yes.
can you just give me an idea where you are with the pressure washing of the pool?
Not really. It hadn't changed any since the last time we talked.
So I want to get going on painting again. I ran out of jobs, so I'm going to go back to work at the pool.
Well, I haven't run out of jobs, so it may take a while. I'll get it this week.
Perfect.
So, and just on the note of the water and the situation that we have at the spring, on the second Thursday of each month, your groundwater district meets. It would be very important to go discuss with them your concerns around the groundwater and how it's being used and how they're monitoring the situation or not monitoring the situation and how they're applying their own rules which they will publish, and you can go by as a Kenny County resident and get the rules for the groundwater district that will tell you exactly how the formula works for what they should and should not be doing as far as the groundwater goes. So, while I appreciate all of the concern that comes in and the ideas as to what we can do as a board and as a management group, we're not the people that are over the groundwater. There is a whole board that does that, who are elected officials, and I would encourage you to speak with them about that as well. That'd be very helpful from an oversight standpoint. We'll move into committee reports. Do we have anything from the airports? I only see one piece of correspondence, so I won't ask for each one. You don't have anything else besides what we have in here? Okay. So nothing from the airport. Okay. Architectural? Okay. Golf? We have Katie's here. Or,
Okay, from the Golf Committee, good morning. Since the last meeting of the board, the Golf Committee has supported our golf course spending $3,117.77 on parts and sprinklers. We awarded 2 $1,000 scholarships. Lastly, we hosted the Hillcrest Memorial Golf Tournament. Respectfully submitted, Katie Brown.
thank you. Preservation.
H.N. Bitter with Preservation. I think I mentioned this before, but there'll be no real formal report today, this month exactly, since we're taking off June hiatus in June, July, and August. But I'm going to be following the 2 jobs that you have already approved, and a little bit of an update on that. Jim with MK has been kind of covered up. He was doing a major remodeling down here on the 4th of individual residence. But anyway, he's caught up. Monday he's going to start on the Post Theater. And so I'll tell you that I'll be here every month, even though I don't have a formal report. I'll be here each month and give you an update on the 2 major projects that you've already approved. Any questions?
Time frame on completion, once you get started, do you have one?
I'm thinking it all depends on the condition of the marquee once they get the ceiling down.
Okay, so we don't really know.
We don't know for sure on the post.
And that's fair.
I'll know more, probably, I'll know a lot more by the time of your next meeting.
Okay.
To tell you.
If anything comes up, just shoot an email to Julie and she'll get it to all of us. That way, if we need, we talked about last time contingency based on, let's not wait till next meeting.
I'm pleased to see that we have the money that we've got in that. I think we can handle, unless it's something beyond all reasoning, I think we can handle any contingency on the Post Theater marquee, hopefully.
Okay, well, just let us know and like I said, send something in to Julie.
How about the doors on the side?
I looked at those, we hadn't mentioned that yet, but I looked at those, and I really don't think we're gonna have to have them built, for sure. But I don't see any big problem. It's just plywood over a regular 2x4 frame, solid inside and out. And then they can put some trim boards around the edges to look like, it's not a difficult replacement thing. And I definitely plan to do that on a separate proposal.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Travis, can we
Yes.
go back to architecture? I just got
Okay,
Vinnie's
sure.
report. Mr. Mann.
Absolutely.
Since the board's last meeting, we have done 11 permits and no variances. We've approved several violations. We hope to get one more member soon and meet with another who has expressed an interest. We're still looking for a couple more volunteers. Please remember when submitting applications to include boundary lines and setbacks, especially when adding structures or adding 2 structures. If anyone has any questions, contact any of the art committee members or call the office and they can give you contact information. And if we don't get another member, we will not be meeting this Tuesday because we don't have a quorum.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Start your show.
Recycling, good morning. One sentence. June 3rd, we sent 46 boxes and 4 bales of plastic. So we never know what the weight was, and we hope to get some money for the Ford, usually 6 weeks later, so we'll see. So that's it. I'm always looking for volunteers, and I'll hang around should anybody wish to work 2 hours a month. And I usually work with you the first time, so you know all the important things.
Before you go to your next report
Yeah.
on recycling, so we have talked to the city. They do have the baler. We'll get something worked out. It's coming.
Do you want me to meet with the mayor, or are you gonna do that?
So we're talking to the city administrator, so the mayor's kind of delegated that down to Nora, so we will get that worked out. We have several other projects that we're working on them with,
Oh,
and
super.
so that'll be in concert with that. But just to let you know, we have not forgotten about the baler.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, text me if
Yeah,
I can do anything.
As soon as it's time to hand off to you, I will be happy to do that. So.
Great, okay, super. Any questions?
You mentioned boxes.
Boxes, the
Gaylords?
big gaylords.
Gaylords.
Yeah. I somehow have an aversion to using that word gaylords, so the industry does call it gaylords. I don't know where that came from. All right, the next topic is the Los Morris Restoration Committee. And Chris Hale is the chair, and since he's in Austin, he always asks me to. So I have 2 sentences from the lawyer, which is pretty amazing today. The main piece of work is completion of the replacement of the north side sidewalk. It had a number of cracks and unleveled portions. Thank you.
Wow, I was expecting more.
Pretty amazing.
Yes, recreation.
I'll do it.
I'm just gonna stay here. Hi, I'm Julie Moreno. I am on the Recreation Committee, and I am doing the report for this month. The Recreation Committee has met 2 times since we were formed a couple weeks ago. We have 11 members so far, and 2 of them are here. I think which is Constance and Amos. The Recreation Department will consist of the Health and Wellness Center, Adult Center, and RV Park. Some of the things we are working on are fundraisers, which will include a 5K and cornhole horseshoe tournaments. The money raised from the fundraisers will be put towards restoring the basketball and tennis courts behind the new Fort Clark Springs Health and Wellness Center, which is the old Teeth Center. This will be with our grand opening October 1st. I believe we're having a soft opening soon. We are going to have a Volksmarkt, which with the Fall Festival in November. They're also working on putting a TOPS program together, which is a nutrition support group, right? Silver sneakers and a beach volleyball. We are also looking for anyone who would like to instruct classes. So if anyone is interested, please let us know. I have a list going from the members on what classes they would like to see. And so far we have Zumba, low impact aerobics, strength and balance exercise, Pilates, step class, yoga, chair yoga, and definitely continuation of our line dancing and water aerobics. That is whenever we get water again. So again, if anyone is interested in being a part of the Recreation Committee, we would love to have you. We have a lot of great ideas and look forward to hearing more. We would also encourage you as members to help our young people get involved. And we do accept high schoolers to be on the committee. If you have any questions, you can certainly get in touch with Amos, who's the manager of the Recreation Department, Sherry Newman, who is our events coordinator, and then there is Mr. Peterson and myself. Thank you.
So with the,
Go ahead. I have a quick question. Y'all look, I noticed the Fort Clark dispatcher Facebook. Y'all looking for instructors. Are those, you want volunteer instructors, or is the board going to be paying these instructors?
We're still looking into that, but it's most likely they will be paid something, but we have to negotiate with that.
So they'd be like contract employees?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I just had a question. I've been hearing that there's going to be a yearly fee and a monthly fee for the use of the wellness equipment. Is that being discussed? Is that a fact?
That's a fact.
It's a fact. It is a fact. It's gonna be a small amount, but we have to have money to maintain the equipment, to hire, people to watch over the equipment. We're not gonna let the kids come in there and do what they need, you know, what they've done in the past. So we are gonna have people watching over.
There's also, and before we go on, there was one mention of the Silver Sneakers program, which is a Medicaid paid, it is not.
It is a Medicare supplement. It is a loss leader from insurance companies to get people to sign up for a Medicare supplement.
Okay.
And
So,
they'll pay the fort
okay,
a
right.
certain amount.
And so can we hear about that next? I don't want to put you on the spot to give all the details unless you have them all. But there are things that we're looking to, and that we have to get qualified in order to do that.
Right.
And so it's not just like we become designated. We have to actually do certain things to be able to do that. So we are putting together programs to diligently move around and efficiently move around a cost structure that will help us maintain. That's the only point that I wanted to make. But once y'all are ready, please.
Yeah, we just have to.
We'll give you all the time to do it.
Once the gym is open working, then we can actually put in with Silver Sneakers, Silver and Fit, and Renew Active. Covers a couple of different insurance companies and stuff. But yeah, once we're getting ready to roll, now we can start putting into trying to get designated for those. And there's 3 gyms in Del Rio that are designated for them too. So we pretty much meet the requirements.
Okay, good.
And we are trying to get programs for all ages.
Good. One
What kind of
question
fees
I
are
had.
we talking
Go ahead, sir.
about? What kind of fees are we talking about? You said there's going to be one. Nominal is $10 a membership, $10 a person every month, once a year.
Can I say something regarding that? I know you mentioned that. Right now, at this moment, there's only been discussion about it. There hasn't been a vote about it. There hasn't been an agreement about it. I'm not aware of that until you just mentioned that. I mean, there's been some chit chat about it amongst ourselves here, but nothing's official. Nothing's official.
So people have some questions.
That's what I'm saying. I just want to make that clarification. Nothing's official about us charging for the members to use the new gym.
Especially since it's already part of the amenity that we're paying for on
Correct.
an annual assessment.
So is golf.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Sure sounds, okay, I'm hearing no, it's not, but that was the impression when I bought into the place. So, and I'm not the only one that has that impression. So if that's not true, then there are some expectations that need to be managed by the board so that people aren't.
I have not voted on charging a fee there, so that's where I stand right now.
Thank you for answering my question.
And just to go back to kind of work through some things that have not been worked through when other committees, the funds that will be collected will have a bank account in the name of the Recreation Committee? Is that what we're?
It'll be underlined. It'll be a department just like it.
Okay, so it'll be a Fort bank account, like just an account in QuickBooks, not an actual bank account.
Correct.
That is, okay, so it'll be Fort managed, but community supported.
Just like golf, it'll be just like.
Perfect. That's
anything like
yeah,
that.
that's good. That's the way we want to be, because we want to be able to see that in the report that the treasurer's given and all that. So that's good. Okay. So we'll move to community council report. We have that on here.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, most of it was already read by Robert, so that's half of my community council report. Okay. I have just a couple of things to add. Linda O'Brien, we approved Linda O'Brien's request to use our tax-free status to purchase chairs for each of the motel rooms. And this was allowed under our Constitution for the improvement of Fort Clark. And happily, member donations paid for each of the chairs. We also approved use of our movie projector for the board to show the movie Planet Earth sometime in July at the amphitheater. Allison Watkinson has agreed to work the projector. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Julia.
it's, so just to clarify before, because and I'll have to look it up, so apologize for playing with my phone here, but it's not Planet Earth that we're showing. It's,
Texas.
yes, but there's a specific name.
That's what I was given.
No, that was and that's fine, and because that is the way that I described it. But it's actually Matthew McConaughey's film about Texas in the form of Planet Earth. So the way that they go around, they show the different ecologies and what all is out there on Earth. They did a Texas-specific one, and Matthew McConaughey is the narrator. And we were able to get in contact with the producers, with Matthew's ties to Uvalde, some of our members' ties to Uvalde. We were able to get in contact with them and put this together. So hopefully we will be able to show that shortly. But it is called Deep in the Heart. So that is the movie. All right, wastewater treatment area, the lease for that. So we have worked with the utility to kind of gather all the documents around what we'd like to do out there. They have turned a piece of the contract back to us. It is with our attorneys, and we'll keep working with them to get what we need to line that out so that we have a fair deal between the utility and the membership of the board. So that's where we are there. And I know it's taken a long time, it's been over a year, but this is a very significant and important contract, and it needs to be done the right way. So, community councils, so we'll go to discussion items. Community council's proposal to repair the adult center. Yeah, I mean, I understand that the proposal that they put out, they have not yet been able to meet with Mr. Peterson. I think that's the next step to really understand the scope of the work, because again, just like we were talking about with preservation, you go in there with $2,000 and that's great. $2,000 turns into $10,000 really fast, depending on what you're doing. So, I think that it's really, it would be, well, that's a great start in donating the paint. I think having an understanding of the exact scope, and the only way we're going to do that is not through a written proposal, but a meeting with the general manager. I mean, that's kind of his area, and that's, in my opinion, that's where we kind of need to leave it. Yes, ma'am.
We had originally planned to meet with Mr. Peterson, but then I was asked by a board member to present a proposal to the board.
Sure.
So we're almost 2 months, a month and a half out. So if you decide that I need to meet with Mr. Peterson, I'm very happy to do that, and I will get with Mr. Peterson after today's meeting to set up an appointment.
That's
can
perfect.
be done. I was following the instructions I was given by a board member.
And the board member was correct in asking you to do that. In order to get it on the record, we have to have a formal proposal.
Okay.
So just we have to kind of follow these processes. Otherwise, when we're all off the board and the next board's here, there's no record of how that got done or how it started. All of a sudden, this went on, right?
I understand that. I wish I had known that last month, because I could have met with Mr. Peterson since your last meeting until now.
Well, I apologize for
Okay,
not being
we'll take
unclear
care.
about the process. So penalties for guest members bringing outside alcohol into the bar. I don't know whose agenda item this is.
I think no problem is that.
Evidently, it's starting to be one that we need to address. We have two areas we serve alcohol. The golf course as well as here at Dickman Hall. From what I understand, we are having issues now that we have certain members that are bringing their own alcohol, both on the golf course and at Dickman Hall. So I need to, I don't know why there's a discussion. I just called the sheriff and have him arrested, because it is a misdemeanor to bring your own beer to the golf course. So we will proceed with that, and we usually ask them to leave Dickman Hall. probably one of the areas is they getting permission to suspend somebody's membership at the golf course if they bring their own alcohol. And that needs to be something we discuss whether we want to do that or not.
For clarification, if I'm golfing and I go into the club with my own liquor, that's a problem, that's a problem. But if I have a liquor or a little ice chest on my golf cart and I'm riding around the golf course with my own beer, is that a problem?
That's a problem.
Since,
That's a big problem.
since we sell our own alcohol,
Yeah.
you're violating TABC law to go out there and drink.
Well, and I'm just basing it on what I've witnessed in my experience and the 18
Yeah,
years that I lived at my house.
I would say if you had been prosecuted for the violation of the law.
Our sheriff has said they have no problem coming and giving somebody a citation because they get money for their fines that they collect.
We don't have a lot of ways in Kenny County to produce revenue for the sheriff's department, so they're happy to get fines whenever called.
Fine.
Yeah.
I think there's another issue here that's a bigger issue in terms of members, and that is when somebody is taking their own alcohol into Dickman Hall or onto the golf course, they are taking money out of the fort's pocket, the members' pockets. And what the money that we need to have in order to have the amenities for the rest of us.
Well, and it's not only that, it's a much larger issue. When you bring alcohol into a TABC regulated area, you're risking the license of that area and its ability to operate. So a lot of people don't think about that as far as the golf course goes. I mean, it's kind of easy to think about that as far as Dickman Hall goes, but on the golf course, I mean, we already have a problem with revenue on the golf course, and we're diligently working through that and trying, every which way to fix that. If we lose our TABC license, hang it up. I'm not going to go play at a golf course where, I can't, be able to, there's no alcohol to purchase. Like, it's just not the way it's going to be. A golf course without alcohol is not a golf course anymore, so. Yes, sir.
That's where you're gonna get the word amenities thrown at you.
Mr. Peterson.
Beer is an amenity?
I'm just saying.
It wasn't in my packet, right?
No, people who live on the fort and are members think that anything that they do on the fort is an amenity. And it ain't so.
It is amenity. An amenity doesn't mean beer is free.
No, I understand that. I'm not
the playing
arguing.
on the golf course is charged for also.
I'm not arguing the point of what you're saying. I'm just saying that that's the way a lot of people think. People who are a member across from anything's amenity.
Yes, because that is when you designate the area. Now remember,
not the club, the entire golf course.
Remember, we have the ability, we don't have the staff, but we have the ability to serve alcohol on the course.
Okay.
So that is covered in our setup. So we designate the golf course, not a building. It's the golf course. So
that's like any country club.
yes.
And every time I have been on a golf course, there's been some cute gal in a golf cart with a stock bar on it, going around to all the different players. Is that something we want to look into?
I mean, over time.
Unfortunately, yeah, it is, but I don't know how much money we can make with one cart and 8 golfers.
So, yes, as we grow the golf program, yes, that is something that probably you'll see it in phases, right? So over time, you would see it come in for big tournaments, and then we wouldn't have the expense of building that cart because it is a different type of cart. So we probably work with someone to come in and do that for a tournament, and then kind of try and grow that over time. Yes, I would love to have that as an amenity. Yes.
I'm not a golfer, so I don't go down there. Are there signs saying no outside alcohol?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's just known that in
Oh,
general.
No, there's a sign.
There is a sign, yeah.
Well, I'm not
I
there.
think there is, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to say there is.
Yeah, I mean,
It wouldn't be the first time I thought something
actually, there
was
are several signs actually that say that you have to purchase your alcohol there.
Are the golf course and Dickman Hall separate licenses?
Yes.
Okay. So if we lost one, it wouldn't.
Well,
No.
It's under one corporation.
Yeah.
So if they're separate licenses because they're separate
Don't
locations.
assume.
But don't assume that, it's like TCEQ. TABC is very much like TCEQ. Yes, we have a wastewater treatment plant and that's mud.
Yeah.
But don't think when they come out here that they're not swinging by the solid waste plant either,
Yeah.
checking on other things. So yeah, they're different departments, different locations, but
I was just wondering if it lost, if they risk one, they risk all.
in general, yes.
Yeah.
In general, yeah.
So that's why it's important to,
It's
be
better
hard.
just to be safe.
yeah.
Okay. So I guess the discussion on here is just to alert the membership and the board that this is an issue and it may be something that we see coming down
Yeah.
at some point.
In the meantime, can the person at the golf club, for example, or do they tell them you cannot take your own liquor onto the golf course? Is there a
It
statement?
says
they
it
can-
right there, when it says it
I'm not
at the
gonna
pro
say
shop.
what they say or not. I would assume, yes, that would be, if anybody asks, that's pretty much a no. I mean, we sell beer, but I'm not gonna sit here and say, yeah, I know they tell everybody that. So,
Well, as far as
I didn't know.
Dickman though, I mean, can we go ahead and set a, like if you're caught, besides calling, it's like you're either out for
well,
a
now,
month, 6
now if they come
months.
in, we've been kicking them out, and then we don't allow them to come back.
Do we have a time limit?
Well, usually we say about a month. Most of them, I say they have to come talk to me before I allow them back in. In the 2 instances I know of, that's what I've done.
Yeah, I don't know that we need to set something formally, it's kind of on a, if you're a repeat offender, if we set something up, right, and we say it's a month, and on the 4th or 5th time,
Yeah.
a month isn't now adequate, right? I would just leave it at the discretion of the general manager to enforce the law, and the penalty for not following it at this point. Now, if it becomes a bigger issue where we need to, have a pay on your first offense,
Well,
on your second.
the one area it could be an issue is at the golf club. If we have a member that consistently does it, then the board can revoke his membership as far as at the golf course. And that would be an issue that can be done. So, I mean, I've banned them from the golf course for inappropriate behavior twice now. So, but for a month at a time.
So, have any other comments or questions from the board? Okay, so the next discussion item is the CPI Index. In last year when we talked about this, we had several members approach the board or address the board, and their concerns were around increases in prices and cost of living and their ability to continue to be members here based on fixed income. So during that time, the board said that they would keep people informed as to where the index is so they could appropriately plan their finances and how they're going to adjust their lifestyles. As of last month, the CPI increase year over year, month to month, was 8.3%. That is a large increase. And so I want to start talking about it now. For our calculation, we use June. Okay, so that was April that I'm quoting. So I'm just letting you know where it's at. That will be discussed, and we will discuss it here. And I hope everyone is available to attend and participate in those discussions. But I just want to get it out there now that it's going to be a big number this year, and so we will have to consider that. We will have to talk through that. And I just wanted to open up that discussion just to let people know, and we'll also publish the process. Okay, so that you can go look at the numbers and say, look, this is how you calculate it. You take the CPI from this month and this month, subtract them, divide it out to find the percentage, and then that's the appropriate. And then we'll also go through our governing documents and say, how does that apply to our governing documents and what does that mean for us? So that will all come out. Before I open it to the membership, does anyone on the board have questions or other comments that they'd like to add?
Will we have a public meeting about that problem before decision made, like in July?
So the number will not be posted until So we will have the number in September. It's the June number. The June number will be posted in September.
Has it always been the June number? I thought we used the September. Well, no, we can't,
No, no,
September.
you do it in September, but you use the June number, because May was just posted, so I sent out that email last week. May was posted the next day. So the numbers that I sent out were for April, but May was actually the next day, and I didn't realize that was gonna happen, or I would have waited. But, yeah, we won't have the June number until September.
I think it would be a good idea that we have a workshop either in July, early August regarding that issue.
I mean,
And
we
a lot of
have
members
these
to come.
meetings, I mean, we have these meetings on Saturday. I don't know that it would be, it kind of seems like I'm happy to do it here, I'm happy to send it out, but, you know, we do have time constraints as far as how many workshops and whatnot we can do. I mean, that's why I'm bringing it up here, to encourage people now, you need to be at the September meeting. That's when we're going to discuss it. And before that, we'll be very happy to publish the process, as well as answer any questions on it via email. But to have another workshop or another, deal, okay, well, I'm the one that's hosted a lot of the town halls and the forums, so like unless you'd like to host one.
Yeah, I mean, we can call it, and then everybody chime in.
I'll chime in now. I have voted for 3 increases, one each year that I've been on the board. And I understand that we need to pay our bills in the way that this entity, Fort Clark Springs Association, one of the ways it generates revenues is through our assessments. However, I feel that at this time, with the highest inflation in 40 years and the Cpi Index being so high, I do not think that following it to the T and raising people's assessments for a residential in one lot by $8 is prudent. I'm going to make my announcement now. Because of my retirement in February with COVID, I survived cancer, but I can't survive retirement income. So I am putting my property up for sale, and as at the end of today's meeting, I will resign from the board. But to raise people on fixed income by that much money, I mean, we're talking, I have 2 lots plus the residential, so mine would go up by another $10 or $11 a month. That's too much. So when you have this discussion in 2 to 3 months, please understand that we've raised the assessments 3 times. I understand that when we did the budget, gas was $1 or $2 a gallon, and it's now $5 a gallon, so it's throwing the budget out of kilter, but we're all facing that same budget shortfall.
Yep.
And I'm the first casualty of the budget that I know of where you have to sell things. So, but that's just my feeling on the issue.
Yeah, I would say I'm in line with Robert. We have the ability to go anywhere from 2.5% to the 8, according to our documents, or whatever it's going to be in June. But I do not feel, it's in the best interest, unless I'm shown otherwise. That's a lot. 8.6% is a lot to ask of a community that has a lot of fixed income.
Yes, ma'am.
Most of us are on a fixed income. I work full-time. I'm on a fixed income. I also collect widowers' Social Security. That's another fixed income. Those people who are on Social Security got a 5.3 CPI increase in January. That fiscal year goes by calendar year. I understand that our fiscal year is a little different. So those people who are on Social Security got only a 5.3% increase. They also got an increase in their Medicare costs. I work at the school district. The school district has given me a 5% increase starting with my new contract in August or September, whenever it begins, I'm not really sure. So we're looking at 2 5% increases for people who are on fixed incomes. And if you're working full-time, you're still on a fixed income. I don't understand this fixed income thing, really. So anyway, so when we look at reality, while your year is a different fiscal year than most other people's year, most people only got that 5% increase. So if you're thinking about going up to an 8.6 or whatever the CPI is from your fiscal year, I think that's an unfair assessment as well. I tend to agree with both Lisa and with Robert that, yeah, we need to keep it really low because everybody else is also going through the same thing that the Ford is going through. So I'm throwing out my 2 cents worth and just a little bit of knowledge on that fixed income thing.
So thank you for the stats on the 5.3%.
Yes.
I want to point out that our increase last year in dues was 5.3%. So we were actually in line with what the increase was for that time. Yes, sir.
Do we buy diesel?
Yes.
What's happened to that price?
I'm not sure what it is. We haven't bought one. Since I filled all of our tanks up 2 months ago, and we haven't filled up since then. I'm not sure what it's gone up to.
It's more than double, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if we're gonna leave the rates at the same rate, the assessments at the same rate, and then we're gonna have to buy less diesel next year, is that correct?
We're gonna have we're pretty much a fixed item as far as what we use. We've cut back about as much as we can.
But if there's no money, then you can't buy the diesel, they won't be able to go around.
That would be
Pick up
true.
the-
That is true.
Cause and effect.
It's over 50% higher than last year. 100%
It's double.
higher. It's double, yeah.
I believe there was another comment.
Is the 8% you mentioned the figure you have to abide by, or can you go anywhere
No, the way that
0 to 8%?
So our governing documents say that we can do up to 2.5% unless CPI is higher than that. And then we can consider some number higher than CPI higher than 2.5% up to CPI. CPI is the maximum that we can go up. So that's just a range of the barometer of where we have to start our
Right,
discussion.
yeah, but you're not locked into 8%.
No, we're not locked into 2.5 or 8%.
However, once you increase the assessment, you're locked into that assessment. I don't think anything says that we can go backwards in the assessment.
I have never read anything that says you could ever go backwards in the.
So that's why I'm saying we need to be careful what we raise it to when it's raised, because you can't go backwards.
That's right. And we did have a long time, and I'll have to defer to the members that have been here for a while, but we've been a long period of time without an increase for many, many years, and you're seeing the result of it.
I think it was 8 years without an increase.
We went 8 years without an increase, and we're seeing the result of it in the infrastructure and the status of the funds available. And so just, I mean, and let's talk about it like this. In 1994, at $30 a membership, you were bringing in $178 or $185,000 a month in revenue to operate this place. Today, you're bringing in $78,000. We're working with $100,000 less. That's $94 to $2022 even, no inflation. That's
Horrible.
I don't know how we're doing it, but we're getting it done somehow.
Well, you're making about $180,000 pure income just in the hotel.
Right. I mean, we're taking from our commercial areas to cover that up, to cover off that, to offset that. But that's a game that doesn't work forever either. And we've seen what can happen to those commercial areas. DPS left, we had a drop off in our revenue. We have a pool that's now being affected. That's going to run into our hunt next year. I don't expect to see the same numbers from our commercial area from our hunt because we're simply not going to have the wildlife that we had this year to harvest. So all of these things kind of trickle down. The pots are going to be empty at some point. Did you have something? No? Any other comments from our, and again, before we go on, This will be a long-term discussion. We'll update you as to where CPI comes out, next month, and when we get there, we'll start having the discussion. So, and we'll publish the process as well. We had one email vote. We needed to repair the HVAC for the adult center. That was a unanimous decision to do that. I believe the cost was $5,500.
Actually came to 62.
Came to 62.
But it is done. It went up that much in a week.
We have one agenda item, which is consider the approval for the new architectural committee members. I believe we have this out of order. Normally this goes after executive session. For the, yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah. So, do we have any comments from the membership or from anyone in the room today? Yes, sir.
Excuse me. I just noticed there's a lot of signs and stuff being painted around the fort. They look nice.
Thank you.
I know it's a simple thing, but everybody's always got their issues. I also want to point out when we see things that are looking good, and the fact that there's trimming trees and stuff in the creek and these other things that are being proactive. That's where I think the board should be. And the signs they're small touch, but they make a nice appearance as you're driving about the fort. So I've noticed those, and it looks good.
Need water.
Thank you.
We haven't put the crossing the creek, Las Morris sign back up that you washes away all your sins, because we don't have any water. When we get water, we'll put it back
The
up.
birds take dust.
That's us bad, yeah.
We're all in trouble then.
I keep crossing the creek and nothing's happening.
I missed what I guess I'm concerned about approval of HVAC for the adult center. Does that mean the new gym?
No.
Or are we talking the adult center?
Adult center.
Center building.
This center building.
Where the clubs meet.
Where the clubs,
Where the clubs,
where everybody meets. The only one that had AC was
Okay.
in the last 5 years.
Right.
Mr. Peterson, that sign that said welcome to Port Clark Springs at the entrance,
Yeah.
as you're coming down the highway, I know it's just thrown there.
And they got blown over.
Well, yeah, it got blown over.
Yeah.
Are we gonna remove it? Are we gonna put it back up? Cause it just looked like just trash is thrown there on
Yeah.
it can't be moved somewhere to, it hasn't been able to be moved yet.
It's not really one of those things that we have the ability to address right now. It didn't fall over, the
Storm
three
knocked it out.
poles that were holding it up sheared off
Wow.
and broke. So I don't have the ability to replace those 3 poles, so right now, that's.
In the meantime, we can get that sign into maintenance so it won't look like.
I don't have the time or the staff to be able to spend that much time doing it right now. I mean, we have some priorities that are there. The sign, that sign, I'm sorry it's there. If you want to volunteer to go out and start working on
Give
it,
me a trailer and I'll get the
Yeah.
volunteers.
it's going to take less than volunteering. You got to take it apart. I haven't even gone out there to look at it.
Any other comments? We're about to go into executive session. This might be the shortest board meeting I've ever hosted, so.
On record.
Yeah, I want to go on record. I'm going to let it go for 2 minutes or so we can at least be at an hour. I don't want y'all to think we're not doing our jobs. So, any other comments?
Oh, I forgot to tell everybody, the community council doesn't meet July and August, so our next meeting is September 10th.
I also think there's a Juneteenth celebration today. There's several events. I know that it's on Facebook. So check that out. I know that there's events all throughout the day and throughout the weekend. I think it is today. I think they're actually having a parade right now.
It's an absentee, yeah. It says absentee.
There's a barbecue,
Civic
isn't it?
Center.
There's a barbecue this evening, I believe.
There's stickers.
No, at noon.
At noon.
Yeah, and it's good. That barbecue is excellent.
All right. All right, we'll adjourn. It is. Oh,
Remember,
town hall.
It's gonna be
Okay.
here?
It's at 6 p.m. in the boardroom. Mr. Peterson will be having a town hall on the 21st of June at 6 p.m. in this room.
And it's basically going to be addressing all the work that's been done at the spring and